Jared Dillian. Now you know a rich guy.
I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show. I forgot to tell you a story. We're going to get to this in a second. If you want to call to talk about your money, please call 844-305-7800. That's 844-305-7800. I actually do want you to call. Please call. It will be more fun here if you call. And I can help you with your money. I forgot to tell you, this is an amazing story. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. So I live in Myrtle Beach, and if I want to fly anywhere in the country, I usually have to go to Charlotte first. So there's like a little puddle jumper. It's like a 45-minute flight to Charlotte, maybe even less than that. And so one morning, I was probably going to New York, and I'm flying to Charlotte, and I'm in this second to last row of the plane. And in the last row of the plane is a very loud and annoying businessman. And this guy is talking about he's got a house in Aspen, he's got a house in Miami, he's got a house in, I'm like, what? He's talking about his cars, he's got like an Aston Martin, he's got like all these crazy cars, Ferraris, and he's got a plane. He's telling the guy next to him about all this stuff. I'm like, what a jerk this guy is. So finally the guy next to him, he says, well, what do you do? And he says, well, I have an eyewear retainer company. Eyewear retainer company. So the guy next to him says, you mean like Croakies? He says, actually, Croakies is our biggest competitor. He says, I have the number 2. I can't even do this. I have the number 2. The number 2 eyewear retainer company. I can't. Oh my God, I'm dying. It was the funniest thing of all time. But I'm sitting here. So this guy is the number 2 eyewear retainer company in the country, and so this is not the gold medal, right? He's the silver medal. And the guy has multiple houses, multiple cars, plane, all this stuff. And everybody thinks like business is cutthroat, it's hard, you know. This guy came in second, and he's like disgustingly rich. I mean, assuming like everything he says is true. So I probably think of that story like every day. And, you know, and just to be clear, like in my business, I have a financial newsletter, right? So I have the number 1 financial newsletter in the country? Actually, I don't. There's 2 big ones ahead of me. And do I have a pretty decent standard of living? Yeah. Like you don't even have to come in first or second. So, oh my God, it was so funny. It was really, really just like, you know, just illuminates. And a lot of people think that, you know, I can't go into business. It's too hard. I mean, what's hard about eyewear retainers? I mean, it's like, by the way, you know, I think the eyewear retainer business has just gotten a little more complex because now they have these new ones, like these wires that go around the back. Have you seen these things? They're like hard wires that go around the back of your head. Anyway. But Croakies is still the number 1 eyewear retainer company in the world. Oh, too funny. Is debt evil? Is debt evil? So I've been accused by some of moralizing about debt. And don't moralize about debt on the radio because you're just going to make people feel bad. You know, and I guess that's true. I don't want to make people feel bad. I don't want to, you know, if you've made some bad decisions with debt, my goal isn't to shame you. My goal is to help you reverse those bad decisions and hopefully make some good decisions. But we'll talk. I mean, but really, is debt inherently evil? And the people that say this usually have religious overtones. For example, you know, in Islam, Sharia finance basically bans the use of interest. You can't pay interest. It's just you can't use debt to finance anything in Islam. It's all equity finance. And, you know, Christians are not really big on it either. A lot of the Christian-themed personal finance stuff in this country, they really think of debt as evil, you know. And debt is not evil. A lot of things are built with debt. If you go to any big city and walk downtown, all the tall buildings are built with debt. They're not equity financed. They're built with debt. Some things are not built with debt. Facebook is not built with debt. Google is not built with debt. A lot of the things that Silicon Valley does, that's all equity financed. And just some businesses kind of lend themselves better to debt, and some businesses lend themselves better to equity. They're just different kinds of businesses. But if you go around the world and you look at the countries where there is no debt, there's actually nothing good going on there. And I don't really know if people make that connection. So the answer is, when is debt good? And there's a lot of discussion in the personal finance community about good debt and bad debt. And, mortgage is good debt, and a car loan is less good debt, and credit card debts are bad debt. And, it's really a complicated issue. It's really a complicated issue. I'm actually gonna put it a different way, because a lot of people aren't used to thinking of it this way. But debt is okay. Debt is good when you are growing faster than the debt. Okay, so if you think about the United States of America, how you can actually measure this. So the United States of America right now has about 6% deficit to GDP. So the deficit is about 1.1 trillion. Our GDP is about 17 trillion. So that's about 6% of GDP. And we are growing at 3%. So the debt is growing faster than we're growing. And that's not sustainable. So that is not good debt. That's bad debt. Now, if you take out a car loan at 6% interest, I would hope you would get a car loan for 4% interest, but let's say you can't qualify for one, so you get one with 6% interest. If your income is growing faster than 6%, then it's okay. You're growing faster than the debt. And that's why I'm not reflexively opposed to things like payday loans or title loans or things like that, which have very high interest rates of 100, 200, 300%, because there are now most of those, and they have very sad stories, but there are instances where people need access to credit and they are actually growing faster than the interest rate on the debt because they just got a job or something and they outgrow that debt even though it has a very high interest rate. So there's a lot of, the CFPB, which actually, this is very interesting. So the CFPB is a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I think it was enacted in 2009 or 2010 after the financial crisis. And they basically go after like pawn shops and title lenders and stuff like that. But the entire legitimacy of the agency is being questioned because the CFPB doesn't get its budget from Congress through the appropriations process. The profits of the Federal Reserve fund the CFPB. So they're completely, Congress can't starve it of funding if they wanted to, and it's totally outside the appropriations process. Also, the president cannot fire the director. So the agency is completely and utterly unaccountable. Anyway, we'll talk about this more when we get back. I'm Jared Dillian. This is The Jared Dillian Show.
The Jared Dillian Show.